Okay, well, so this was the first diagram, correct? Where we learn about how the deployment process and expected DevOps cycle. So we learn various tools, correct? So we learn the GitHub, we learn the Jenkins, we learn the Docker, we learn the Kubernetes. So this is how means you can configure your pipeline and this particular thing sessions, dummy project also or demo project I can give to you. I have already committed those part on my GitHub so that you can refer to complete this pipeline. Correct. So now you can do the setup with the Kubernetes and you can achieve everything. Means you can have your Jenkins setup, you can build it, you can push that Docker container and then you can deploy it on the Kubernetes. For that, what you require like kubectl thing, which you can communicate from the Jenkins terminal as well or from local machine, and then you can deploy it. Okay. So for blue green, you just need to be have another production server, correct? And at traffic level, you need to be handle that. So here you can do your one additional setup, and whenever deployment happen, it will deploy on the both clusters, correct? So I hope means with this diagram you can relate blue green deployment as well.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
it
The
will be
canary,
like as manage the load or
yeah,
traffic of
it will be like same. The deployment will happen in multiple cluster, but at a time uh, one deployment will be active, means the all requests are going to the one requirement. So mostly banking domains are having this blue green type of deployment. So in case some maintenance is there on the weekend or any things are there, they are just using like blue green related deployment to apply the patches on the new setup. Okay.
okay.
So yeah, this is something based on the deployment, but under DevOps, you just need to be have this particular configuration and deploy and achieve the automation, correct? So it very first session when we start with the DevOps, we understand like what is DevOps is everything which is helping you with a release cycle with an automated process, correct? So it's like entire SDLC automation. It's not only like for the development, not only for the QA testing, not only for the Kubernetes, everything you can achieve this by using the all these DevOps related tools. And with last couple of sessions, we learn entire all these tools and integrations. Correct. So let's try to learn this. Try to complete assignment. With every session, I have given like 10 plus assignments to you. So those assignments count is also like 100 plus assignments. If you are able to complete this, definitely you will have those particular confidence with you. And uh, if we are taking 1 hour session for completing that with all tutorials and required assignments, it might take like 3 to 4 hours in a day, correct? So you need to be handle that or manage your time accordingly. So yeah, for Kubernetes, we yesterday learned like means this is an official doc where you will get some training related thing. Some certifications are also there, CK and CCAT. Let's at least start with CK, CCAT. So with an 80,000 or 16,000, you will get two certifications related thing. You can try for that. Once you buy it, it will have like 1 year subscription and you will able to get all required access and then you can try the giving exam as well, correct? So let's try over that. So if you face any challenges, feel free to connect with me. I have given that or attempted this. So there are two tries. If you are failing the first try, you can give the second try as well. But the time span is with the 1 year. And this certification is having too much value, correct? So in industry means industry requires CK or CCAD exams related certification. So all this documentation means whatever we are learning with the namespace, deployment, concepts, correct? So all these things are there, means node port, service, ingress, deployment, or Kubernetes setup, multi-node setup, single node setup with Minikube. All these things are there. What you need to be start with the basic understanding. So all these things are there, correct? Workload or pods, containers, nodes, Kubedium, or the kubelet related things. All these things are there. Okay, and that we are already learning some of the previous session. So let's do the practice. At least if you have the your own minikube cluster, you can do anything with the Kubernetes. You can learn all basic to advanced concept in a Kubernetes. So we have also did this minikube setup, and under that we have achieved all these things. We can scale those. We can get the pods. We can deploy the application. We can access that. Correct. So for accessing what we required, anyone try to explain? In case we deploy application, but we want to access it. Let's say take an example for Tomcat or Jenkins or any UI application
Yes.
which is running on
So
some
need to start
AWS.
service.
Yeah, we require service, correct? So if you need to access it, you need to have service for that. And that service is coming with the node port, correct? So node port is a concept where you can uh, achieve that and deploy that, correct? Or you can access that particular service from the browser. So anyone try to explain me like how to deploy the Jenkins? So Jenkins is an application, correct, which is written in Java, and we can have the Docker image for that, and we can deploy it. So we can deploy it, correct, on local machine or on terminal with the native installations. So anyone try to explain how to deploy Jenkins? I hope means you have
Ye-
that setup.
Yes, Mahesh. So it's like as the same. I think we can containerize that image, means pull that image in the Docker file
Hmm.
and deploy into the Kubernetes pods
Yeah, no, no. My question is like
uh,
without Kubernetes, correct? How to deploy it?
without Kubernetes.
Yeah. So any application means if we need to be deployed in Docker content, how we can deploy?
We can pull the image through
You
Docker
pull
Hub
the image, correct?
and then yeah, build the image after that.
Build, yeah, you can build your custom image and you can run it, correct? By using Docker
Run
run.
it.
Yeah.
Correct.
And for accessing that, it will be available on the whatever the port you are passing in.
Port required, yeah. So we can mention that port number to that configuration file. So
Mhm.
in the Docker file. So it will be accessible using that port to
Yes,
browser.
correct. And so this is the step for the deploying any application on the local machine, correct? So in case you want to deploy it on Kubernetes, what you require? And I think yesterday also we have covered this. So anyone try to explain? We need to be deploy application on a Kubernetes, what we require. And this is like scenario based question in the interviews as well. Like if you have your Kubernetes cluster, I want to deploy any application, how I can deploy, what are the prerequisites for I require, what type of access I require, which commands you can execute. Anyone wants to explain this? Like I want to deploy application on Kubernetes, what I require.
Can I, Mahesh?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can means same thing. We can like as a mini cube. First we install it. Okay. Then
Yeah. Minikube is just for learning purpose, correct? If
learning. Okay.
you are in
Okay.
organization, you will
So
have Kubernetes cluster
So
access.
first we make one Docker file in which we mention where it from we can pull the image, which image we require to pull. Okay, mention
Mm-hmm.
the other syntax in that Docker file, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can uh, run that in the Kubernetes pod. So using kubectl command, kubectl run, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
create. I think kubectl create and give the path of that Docker file. So it will be create the containers or pods from that particular Docker file.
Mm-hmm. Not Docker file, correct? YML file.
YAML file, sorry, Docker file, not YAML file.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Then this will be deploy your application, correct? And first you need to be create namespace, which we
Yes, yes. First thing is create a namespace. Yeah, sorry. Then
so
deploy it. After that, we can
deployment and
start
pod
the pod.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. So then
Then we can access that pod or that Kubernetes. Yeah.
by using what? You need to be deploy
Uh,
service as well, correct? For that.
yes. Command kubectl.
So you need to be create service YML and then you can create kubectl, create service YML, correct?
Yes. For services
Then you
SV,
can,
I think kubectl
yeah, yes,
SV. Yeah.
yes, we see. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, so you need to add the node port for that, correct? So once you add the node port, it will be accessible. So that is the
Accessible.
steps for the deploying it on Kubernetes. So another way for learning this, correct, with an easy step. So if you have the setup with you, everything with you, correct, like your machine and setup and basic understanding. So let's use the GenAI as well. So we have taken example for GenAI as well, correct? So I hope means you understand that as well, everyone. So you can go on the ChatGPT. Correct? So ChatGPT is very helpful. Uh, it's asking for the sign up. Okay. So you can ask the question like I want to deploy Jenkins application on Kubernetes. I am already having the minikube with me. Deploy Jenkins application on Kubernetes. Please share steps with YAML. Okay. So it will guide you, means whatever you just explain, correct? So you can just ask it to the Jenkins. It will provide you all these required details. So it's showing like you can create the persistent volume and all required things. You can create the deployment. Correct? So you can have all these configurations and you can deploy it. So for accessing this, you need to be you required like this Jenkins service as well, correct? And you can access this. All these things it has shared. You can mention like you don't want persistent volume. So why we require persistent volume anyone
To,
want to?
to store the data.
Yeah, to store the data because if the pod restarted, we can lose all this data, correct? So for that,
Yes.
in Kubernetes there is concept of the persistent volume, similar like Docker volume, which we have, correct? So we can mount that particular data. We can pass the read write related permission, and you can give the storage as well. So let's say in production you are having the 1000 GB storage for your Jenkins setup. You can pass that, correct? Or you can pass the node selector related configuration so that you can have those particular configuration on dedicated nodes. So for now, just to avoid complexity, I am just giving a particular example without PVC, correct? I can reframe my question. I required deployment with without PVC and required service with notebook. Please share detailed steps. Okay, so it will provide required steps again. So it's asking like you can create the deployment. Okay, so you can pass that particular deployment related thing where you can pass the container Docker image. Okay, this is the deployment.yml. So how you can identify like the YML content like with the this particular thing kind. For namespace, you will have the namespace as a kind. For service, you will have the service as a kind. And you can pass see like here I have passed like TCP port and require port with the node port, correct? So this is TCP port is used for the UI. So if you hit this particular port from the external access from the browser, you can able to see the Jenkins UI for that. Okay. So right now it doesn't pass any namespace. Correct here. If you are able to see the deployment, so only two files it has given. One is deployment, another one is service. Correct? Is it correct?
Yes, correct.
And under deployment, what we can pass like Jenkins image, then no port related details. And in service, we can pass this port for access related details by using node.
Notepad. Yeah.
So if I deploy this, where it will be deployed?
In default,
In default, because namespace is not there. I can
not
again
mentioned.
reframe my question by using the chat GPT. Correct. So I can ask them ki I require namespace. I don't want to deploy it under the uh, default namespace. I required namespace Jenkins for all above and required resource quota limit for namespace to not to allow two pods for Jenkins. So you can add the resource quota limit that can be added for the number of watts, number of the CPU, and number of the resources. So what that concept called is resource quota. So here you can able to see now very first step what it has created namespace. Okay, this is the YML for a namespace.
Yes.
Then you can create the resource quota for that namespace. Okay. So namespace is Jenkins and you can create the resource quota. You can pass like I can have the this particular memory. I can have this particular max memory and I can pass only one pods for that. Okay. If you are trying to scale two pod, it will give the error. Correct. This is how you can limit the deployment and which
Yes.
concept help you to achieve that resource quota. Okay. Are you getting?
Yes. Yes.
Then you can pass the required limit range for the deployment as well, like for the Jenkins and all. Then you can do the deployment. Okay. And once you deploy this, you can update require service and all. Correct. By using the node. Okay. So for that, you need to be just apply those particular things. You need to be create YMLs and you can deploy. Okay. So now let's try these particular steps from the one. What is first step? We are creating namespace.
So we can save that YML file to any directory.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Okay.
So
And
here
then
you
one by
can,
one we can run that YML.
yes, here you can create like ns.yml. Okay. So I'm creating that namespace yml. I'm saving that. Okay. So now I have saved this. I am creating resource quota yml. Name you can give any name, correct, for that particular. This is an optional, correct? You don't want this. You can avoid that. You can just simply deploy this. And this memory limit you can modify, correct? Whatever as per your requirement. If you want more memory, you can modify it. Okay. You can tweak those settings. I hope means you are getting this. Why we need to be update those configuration. In case you are having heavy load for your application, you can just update that based
Yeah,
on your need.
as per the requirement, we can change it.
Yes, and for Docker also, if you are achieving or the deploying Docker container or local, there is also these parameters are there, and we learn this, correct? Which parameters are there or how to add this memory for Docker run command. There are some flags, correct? Doc minus minus CPU or minus minus mem. Those configurations are there for the local Docker deployment as well. Okay. Anyone has tried this before for passing memory parameters for Docker container from the local? Anyone has tried this? In Docker
No match.
assignments, I have given these assignments, correct? If you see the older chats on the group, these assignments I have given. So these are very important, correct? You can relate these connecting dots. Okay, that's why means assignments are necessary or the mandatory thing. So yeah, we are doing the deployments. Here we have did deployment, and once you complete the deployment, you can use the notepad as well. And notepad service dot .ym. So file name should be with dot .ym. So this is an syntax for .ym. Okay. So once you have did this, you just need to be applied. So, and for that you require these commands. So now I'm having all these files. I'm having my Kubernetes cluster with me. Okay. So how you can check like you are having access and all, you can check with by using kubectl command. So here I'm having access, correct? Yes or no? I'm able to communicate with kubectl, correct? On the server. Now,
Yes,
is Jenkins namespace is available there? Is Jenkins namespace available there?
no,
Okay. We need to be created. How we can create kubectl?
create
Create or
ns.
apply. You can apply as well or create as well, correct? Create
Yes, it's
and
new,
pass
so we can create use it.
yeah. You can pass the file name. So here you can able to see this namespace is created. Okay, Jenkins namespace is created. Now you need to be apply the resource quota. kubectl create minus f that file. Okay, resource quota is created. Now how you can verify like these all configurations are created? You can go inside here and you can search like the namespace is created or not. So here you can able to see this namespace is created. Okay. Now there is no any deployment, right? This is empty namespace. We have to deploy this.
अरे
How?
हे
Yeah,
जॉइन करतो का मी गेलंय ते रोज मेल येतं ते ज्योतिकाचं
I think you
ते
are
अजून करूंगे ना
okay. I think you are on the mic. Okay. Yeah. So we are deploying this deployment. So now we have did the deployment for the Jenkins. So here you can able to see the Jenkins image is trying to pull from the docker.io, and we have this particular deployment. Okay. It is trying to pull the Jenkins Docker image. Okay. Now the pods are running. So this is the deployment. This is the running pods. Okay. Once it successfully pull, this UI will be going in a green. Still pulling this. So you can check the events and all these details for the Jenkins namespace. How you can check that? kubectl get pods minus n. Jenkins. So this is for getting pod related things. So you can check the events as well. So here you can able to see like it has tried to pull this image. Okay. So now you can able to see this. This is successfully launched. You can able to see the logs for the Jenkins or that particular pod. Okay. Logs are also there. You can go inside that particular pod as well. Okay. How to do that? You can go from the UI. Okay. This is the command for doing the exec, and here the Jenkins process is run. Okay, here you can able to see like Jenkins process running. All these Jenkins related fields are there. You can check the environment variables as well. Okay, so this we already learned. Okay, all these jobs and all these directories, users, all configurations are there. So Jenkins application is up. Now, can anyone confirm like can I able to access the Jenkins UI right now?
Can we have enable the services on using Notepad? Yeah.
Right now we haven't did that. So that is the
So
question.
yes, so
Right
we
now this
not able to.
deployment happen, right? Just we have did the
Yes, yes. So we not able to access that UI.
we cannot access for that we required service. And in service we have added all these configurations. So on this particular port that UI will be accessible. Correct. So let's check that like so get ports we learn. We can do the exec as well, correct? So for that kubectl exec minus t minus I interactive mode, then pod name /bin /bash. So you can check this. Here you can pass the namespace as well. So here you can able to see I'm inside the Jenkins container, and this is how I have accessed this from the terminal. So we can access from the UI, you can access from the terminal as well. Both things are there. Are you getting this command kubectl exec?
It's
Yes or
executed. Yeah.
yeah, kubectl exec. And get pods, get event is also there for debugging purpose. You can also verify the logs as well. Kubectl logs. Here you can pass the pod name for what you need to be check the logs and all. And pass the namespace. You can able to see like Jenkins logs are there. Similar logs which we have run on the local, correct? So this is the key and all. So we require this key when you start with the UI and all. So now for accessing UI, what we require? Notepad and service, correct? So that we are going to create CTL create minus CF and we are going to create service. Okay, so this service we have created. Okay, so let's check like all the services available in that particular namespace. Create SBC minus N Jenkins. Okay, so there is no service are there. Okay, that was the namespace. We are going to create service. So service is stored in nps.yml. I'm going to create it. It's showing like service is invalid. It require port names and value. Okay, so let's check service. It's available or not. Okay, it's giving some error. Okay, and cross check that here. So error also you can validate from the AI, correct? So it will be helpful for you. So it require like port and all this details, correct? Port was missing, and that's why we are getting the error. We can get the corrected syntax and copy that. Uh, JD ys.yml, save it and try it again. Okay. Now the service is created. Okay. We have created service. We are having this particular thing. Here you can able to see like 8080 port, which was for the Jenkins UI, which is mapped to the 30,000 port. Okay. And that is port type is a node port. Correct. Port type is a node port. Okay. Name for that service is Jenkins. So you can go on the UI. Okay, so now how to access the Jenkins UI? So you can check here and go copy paste this. So your Jenkins dashboard is available there. You can just execute it by using this particular port. Pass the 30,000. Okay.
I think the IP is incorrect.
Yeah, so for that you required Kubernetes. For that you require that IP address, correct? So you can also check this here. Okay. So I think they have shared this command as well here. Check this Jenkins URL. Okay. So to access Jenkins URL, it gives the service that we have already checked. So it's getting like external IP for this particular thing. So Kubernetes get nodes minus void is giving the IP address for that. Okay. And okay, external internal IP is there. Check with this. Okay, are you able to see Jenkins UI?
Yes.
Okay, so this is how means you can deploy the application and you can access this. So for that, you require like IP address, and that is given by this command get nodes minus void. So if you have the multiple nodes there, you need to check external IP of every server, internal IP for every server. You can get that correct from this. Okay, clear?
I- Is this internal
Yes.
ID same as public IP?
No, no public IP.
No.
So running on my own machine, correct? So that is my own IP address currently. It will be not exposed on other, correct? So you need to be map this particular thing with some domain and all, correct? With
Mhm.
doing required stuffs with the
I
PVC.
think we can also provide the external IP using the networks things in the
Yeah,
Kubernetes. Yeah.
correct. So once you did the at least basic setup, you can map those particular things under domain, or you can share it with the private IP address, correct, with the team. If you have use case like you don't need to be give it with the public URL, you can share this IP address that is accessible to the everyone. Correct? So that is based on the your requirement, like you need to be configured domain or you need to be shared with the IP address. Just requirement is that particular thing is accessible to the everyone. So that is like networking part.
Okay. And what was that external IP then? The previous one.
Uh, that was not there, correct? Means external IP is not there currently. So we can map those particular things when we are doing the setup and all these things. So right now means I have just did like single node cluster.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so here first time we require this administrator password, and for that we can check the logs, and from that I can get this. Okay. So I am having this key and this here. I can suggest go with installed plugin, suggested plugin and all. I require the internet and all. Currently, for my machine, I am already having the internet. Starting downloading this. So this is an example for the Jenkins, but you can achieve it for any application, correct? So if you have deployed any particular setup or you have created your own Docker image, you can deploy it and access it, correct? For that, you just need to be have the correct mapping with the codes or the correct setups, correct syntax, and correct steps. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is how means you can deploy any setup. So and let's try to use the AI, correct? Means if you are able to see this, I have just deployed within 5 to 6 minutes, correct? This application. I don't require any very deep knowledge of the concepts or the syntax and all. So ChatGPT is giving the correct syntax for me. Not only for the Kubernetes YML or the Kubernetes stuff, it will guide you for the Docker, shell script, Linux, coding as well, programming concept, Python scripts. So that is very helpful. We just need to be have idea about like the concepts or how to use the setups, at least basic things, and hello what kind of setups, correct? For every tools. Can achieve everything in a DevOps. Okay, clear? So now our most of the part is completed. So you can go on my this blogs and all. Let's try to complete this. We completed the setup and all. We have given these assignments as well. You can set up the Jenkins, integrate that with GitHub. You can build it, build the Docker container and deploy on a Kubernetes. Correct? For that, you just need require the Kubernetes and all required installations. You can set up it, and once you have set up, all these things are available. Okay. So now your Jenkins UI application is up. So that it's deployed on Kubernetes. The entire thing is deployed on the Kubernetes. Okay, clear? And here we have learned the so many concepts, correct? Like namespace, deployment, default namespace, other Kubernetes related important part as well, like Kubernetes architecture, kubeAPI server, or the controller, scheduler, Kubernetes proxy, kubelet. All these things we learn. Then we learn the namespace, we learn the deployment, we learn like how to map the ports, how where we need to pass the Jenkins or the any Docker image, how we can control the resources for an application, how what are the steps which we require to deploy any application on Kubernetes, why service are required, what is the node port. Okay. And we have also seen the live example for this application deployment. Okay. So now you can try the MySQL deployment, you can try SonarQube deployment, you can try deploy Python application, you can deploy Spring Boot application, you can deploy NPM application. Correct? So let's do these assignments, deploy any 10 different application, try to access that, try different commands like under what we need to be deploy these. So try to solve some scenario based questions as well. Like let's say you are getting some error, how to check that, how to check the logs. If you want to scale these, how you can scale these. Then if you want to apply some limit, how you can apply some limit. So this type of questions will become in interviews. And if you are doing like you are using day to day the Kubernetes, this will be very helpful to you. Correct. So let's do some practice. And again, means you can also try for the certification in case you want for the CK or CKAT. Correct. So that is also very important thing in case you want to try something new or grow on that particular area. Okay, clear. So I hope means today's part is clear, and all these things are we have added here as well, right, on the blog. So what we have tried just till now, that is there with the blogs, like the noteboard deployment, all these things are there. Once you started this type of things will become a setup part. All these things available on my blogs or with the DevOps lover. So everything which we are learning, that is available with the DevOps related blogs. So you can refer those for learning. So I have added like 200 plus different blogs with the DevOps, and that is helping for all reading material or doing the practice, getting the scenario based questions and all. Correct. So some learning material is also there, so you can go on that as well. So I've added some particular PDFs in DevOps related things. So you can just search that and try to download. You can get multiple things there. So you need to be have like required access control. So what there are means different type of reading material. So you can just keep that particular drive with you. So it's having like 5 to 6 GB related data with the different books or the images or the PDF or the courses. So let's download that and try to learn from that. Okay, clear? Okay. So where the study material, where all the recording, I think recording URL is with you. So tomorrow we will have one session where we understand like interview based question in Kubernetes or entire thing. If you have any questions in that, let's come up with that. But I hope means till now with the Kubernetes part we are clear, like what we required and how we can achieve the deployments under the Kubernetes, what how the setup works and how the different type of kubectl commands work. Correct. So, and this is something means when we are working with the production setup, similar thing is there. We need to be try similar commands. We need to be have the access. We need to be prepare the YML. We need to be deployed. We need to be perform certain integration, or we need to be debug certain scenarios. Correct. So in that similar thing is happening. So that is like day to day task of DevOps engineer who is working on the Kubernetes. Okay, it's clear. Is it clear to everyone? Dhananjay, Gayatri, Atish, Pratik,
Yes, Mahesh.
Yes.
about others. Atish, Pratik.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's